Allergic po ako sa Global Environment Facility Trust Fund. Kasi parati ko pong naririnig yan, wala naman tayong napapala. Dekada-dekada nang nag-iintay. Can you tell us what sort of funding will realistically be sourced from the GEF? Will it be a loan? Will it be a grant? Will it be a shared enterprise? Paano kaya? Nagustuhan, naibigan yung hatol, hindi sila sang-ayon sa sinabi, hindi na sila bound. Akala ko legal document to. Bakit hindi sila mababound? Di problematic na to. It's ineffective. Ba't tayo nagpapakamatay sumali rito? Pag ayaw pala nila yung hatol, they can disregard it. Pwede bang ganun? Theory possible juncture. But again, magiging makulit ako dahil kailangan maliwanag tayo. Anong mangyayari sa conflicting claims with regard to jurisdiction? Overlapping maritime claims. Who will adjudicate? Balik na naman tayo sa Conference of Parties that the sovereign acts of a state over certain maritime genetic materials already exceeded its natural jurisdiction. Sino maghahatol? Balik na naman tayo saan? Sa Conference of Parties? Ganun pa, paano ba yun? Yes, may nagtaas po ng kamay. Please identify yourself. Hindi ko mabasa yung pangalan mo
From High Seas Alliance po, Riza, meron pong Implementation and Compliance Committee na kung saan doon ilalodge lahat yung mga ganitong concerns, and meron din pong provisions ang BBNJ agreement in terms of settlement of dispute under Article 60 na may nakadetalye
Yun
doon.
nga. Oo, yung settlement na pareho rin naman ng yun clause sa general provision. Tama. So, how will they resolve the conflicts in the treaty without first resolving to the conflict? How will they resolve these conflicts arising from this new treaty kung hindi pa nare-resolve yung napakaraming claimants sa jurisdictional, territorial, maritime claims? Di ba dapat mauna yun? Parang paano nila isi-settle to? Kapag hindi pa maliwanag at hindi pa kinikilala yung EEC at saka yung contiguous areas. Marami pang controverted zones. Yes, Secretary Lutilla, please.
Madam Chair, that would be, of course, ideal that there would be we would have resolved all the disputes, but that would not be the case. And we are realistic enough to accept that. But in the long run, hopefully we will find remedies for this. But there are areas beyond national jurisdiction that are not disputed. And that's where, in the Pacific side, that's where we have...
Sa South China Sea, wala na talaga.
Well, we will
Pero
have
sa Eastern Seaboard, talagang kompleto pa ang Pacific side, no?
Yes. And there are no
Although may
disputes.
Benham rice na rin tayo. Philippine rice pala. Sige, okay. So another provision refers to traditional traditional knowledge associated with marine genetic resources beyond national jurisdiction held by our IPs, indigenous people. Can you give me an example? Meron ba tayo niyan? Parang wala sa high seas. Parang sa Pilipinas, this doesn't apply. Kasi wala naman tayong ocean-going na mga IP. Diba? Pati yung ating mga, palagay ko, wala naman siguro, pati yung Badyaw, hindi naman yata umabot sa Hawaii o kung saan. Po. Yes, did anyone want to say something? Yes, Doktora.
Yeah, wala na po ngayon, pero we have a maritime ocean-going in the Philippines. So, pero wala na ngayon. Pero wala po tayong IPs na directly. This was one of the moves of the small island nations in the Pacific na talagang So, and it was really strongly advocated kasi the BBNJ is for equity and making sure, like you said, that in the long run, the benefits will accrue to the small fishers, the small communities. So sa atin po, ganun din. Our local communities, it is taking care of making sure that the marginalized ones will be benefited one way or the other. So ito po strongly lobbied by the SIDS.
Madam Chair,
Opa.
On the South China Sea side, that's why we maintain our national position that there's a high sea area in the South China Sea, because that's the one that our people from Zambales and in the western side of Luzon are able to access.
So you're saying there's still a high sea sector there sa Zambales?
That's our position, that in the South China Sea, there is a donut hole. Because
What's it called?
The donut hole.
That's right.
The high sea area which because if you measure the 200
Yes,
nautical
correct.
miles zone
Sakop
from
pa
almost-
rin.
yes,
Oo, pasok pa rin. Okay, so the other thing that the agreement speaks of are area-based management tools. In simple terms, that's like a marine protected area ba? Tama ba yung pagkaintindi ko? Something of that sort, right?
that's right. Madam Chair.
Are there already marine protected areas in the high seas which the Philippines recognizes?
There are proposals, Madam
Pero
Chair,
wala pa.
but we are not a member of any.
Sorry, we're not a member of
Of any. There have been
any of
unilateral,
the marine protected zone.
yes, in the high seas.
Can you give an example? Just to-
Chile has had a proposal, several other countries, but not most of them in
Okay.
the Pacific, but
Ah,
not
Okay, so under the
international.
BBNJ, a certain area, for example, is declared, it's set up as a marine protected area. Will there be any remedy against a non-party that pollutes or otherwise destroys marine life or biodiversity in that area? I think we're talking about penalties and sanctions again. Balik na naman tayo dun sa original. Kapag nag-pollute yan and destroys or something, anong magagawa? Yes, I think the representative from the high seas, yes.
There could be possible sanctions. For example, po in some agreements, it's not a direct
No,
sanction.
I'm only talking under the BBNJ.
Yes po. But for example, sanctions could be like not accepting fish or fish products from certain country who violated
banning
the
them.
agreement.
Just banning them outright.
Yes, and it's one of those modalities po na pinag-uusapan ngayon. And I just wanted to also add that
But it's not found in the treaty so
It's
far.
in the Port State Agreement, Madam
Sorry?
Chair. It's in the Port State
In the
Agreement.
Port State Agreement that was mentioned by the DA earlier.
Madam Chair,
Yes,
my
Senator
question is,
Tulfo.
who will enforce this,
Ayan na naman.
yung sinasabi ninyong penalties? I mean, who will do that? Yung banning,
meron po kasing kumbaga principle ng agreement na kailangan mag-cooperate at coordinate sa existing agreements such as PSSA, yung mga RFMOs like Indian Ocean Tuna Commission. So, ang goal po dito ay yung mga state parties na mag-ratify ng agreement who are also contracting parties of existing instruments will align these objectives and will align the objectives and provisions of the agreement in implementation. So, medyo maraming coordination po na gagawin with other treaties, pero kumbaga in the long run, yun po yung parang pinaka goal na mangyari.
paano ko yung member ng treaty na yun is bully? How do you force them? Will you say, hey, may ginawa ka paglabag? Baka sabihin, lumayas ka, bumalik ka doon sa inyo. That's the question. So, it's nice to hear. I mean, pagsabihan, but then again, yung enforcement, that's my question here. It's really enforcement. Lalo at member pala yung sinasabi natin na country.
Madam Chair, the Vice
Yes.
Chair's question is an important one because these are areas beyond national jurisdiction and therefore it's flag state jurisdiction over vessels that will be effective. Now, if it becomes then a question of resorting to the dispute settlement mechanisms provided for under the agreement. So it becomes a state-to-state issue because the primary jurisdiction would be with the flag state of the vessel. So Philippine vessels, Philippine
Yes, pero
authorities,
it's reduced to
supposedly.
state to
Yes,
state.
that's
So
right.
wala na namang papel yung UNCLOS, wala na namang bali itong treating to. Yun na nga ang kinatatakutan ko. I bring you to Article 23, Paragraph 4. Ang sabi dito, if a party objects to the decision of the Conference of Parties with respect to a measure, it will not be bound by the decision. So kung hindi niya nagustuhan, naibigan yung hatol, hindi sila sang-ayon sa sinabi, hindi na sila bound. Akala ko legal document to. Bakit hindi sila mababound? Di problematic na to. It's ineffective. Ba't tayo nagpapakamatay sumali rito? Pag ayaw pala nila yung hatol, they can disregard it. Pwede bang ganun? Yes, Asek Guzman. Pero madali lang yun. Siyempre, susulat mo yung objection mo. Madali lang yun. Daming abogado sa mundo. Yes, but can the COP compel compliance? O, di nag-review sila. Ano ngayon? Ayaw pa rin. Okay.
They don't accept the decision, they object to it, but they cannot take any action that would undermine the decision of the Congress Court.
Okay.
Madam Chair.
Example.
Go ahead.
Sige. A certain area outside the EEC of one party is declared a protected marine zone under the BBNJ. Assuming that such party objected to the measure, can that party opt not to observe all the measures instituted under the BBNJ to protect that area to the detriment of the marine environment therein? Pwede ba yun? They'll block them or haharangin or hindi pa papasukin or something. What will happen then? Para literal yung pagkaintindi natin. Okay, Senator Tulfo wanted to add.
Kaya nga po, Madam Chair, the question, babalik na naman tayo dun sa sinasabi nating enforcement. Kung yung offending party, hindi yung offending party is a big country. Hindi natin kaya, di ba? That's the point there. Wala naman pulis dito to enforce it. I mean, tayo-tayo lang. So, madidihado na naman tayo. That's the point of what I'm talking about. Parang maganda sa paper what you're saying. Kami napakaganda ho pakinggan na this and that. There's we have to follow procedures. Pero in real life, it's not happening po eh. Take the case, ito lang po sa atin sa West Philippines eh. They have tons and tons of it. Like Madam Chair already said during last hearing, she was saying like, ang dami na nating mga note verbale, ang dami na nating mga diplomatic protests, nothing is happening. So, well, what if this happens again here in this treaty? Sasabihin, wala, umuwi ka doon sa inyo. No, hindi tayo papakinggan. It will just fall in deaf ears. What's going to happen there?
Sorry. Thank you, Senator. Well, again, the Philippines remains an advocate of international law and of the provisions provided. So it will always utilize the provisions of international law precisely as international law has been our anchor of all our claims of all our policy.
Tama, Madam Chair. I'm sorry, sir. We always follow lahat po ng batas because we're a tiny nation. Hindi we cannot stand on our own, di po ba? Kaya sunod-sunuran tayo. Kahit anong sabihin sa atin, ganito sa amin yan, lumayas ka diyan. We can't do anything, can we? Di po ba? So we follow. But my point here is, paano nga po sa treaty na ito? Madidihado na naman tayo. Paano ko nakabangga natin as a malaking nation? I'm not mentioning any countries anymore, pero malaking nation at talaga matigas ang ulo. How is that? How?
Your Honor, well, again, as the BBNJ is still being the conference of party, the governance mechanisms are being crafted. It is there where the Philippines can have a strong voice in precisely being able to mitigate or completely avoid that dominance or any bullying by a single party. There are in the current development of the rules of procedure, there's precisely efforts led by the Philippines, or the Philippines has a strong voice, precisely to avoid any single country being able to have, let's say, a disproportionate veto power or a disproportionate voice. So the BBNJ is meant precisely to try to be as open and inclusive as possible, and to give a strongest voice precisely to the less developed nations, to the less powerful, so that they would be able to benefit from the agreement.
That's what I'm saying, Madam Chair. Kaya nga po, and then we are in a hurry to pass this treaty. may mga questions na hindi po masagot. Paano nga po kung nadehado na naman tayo? Because lagi po tayong dehado rito. So how do we resolve this? I mean, we're in hurry. Opo, gusto po nating tayong mauna na mag-aproba nito. But then again, yung question is, what if problem arises? Well, itong katabi natin, may lagi tayong binubuli. So do we have mga measures that this will be avoided in the future? Yung apak-apakan na naman tayo, we will have problem and then wala tayong say, kakamot na lang tayo ng ulo. Papail na naman tayo kung ano-ano mga protesta. Madam Chair?
Yes, tama po. I understand what Asik Guzman is saying, that it provides another forum for us to vent our complaints and at the same time publicize what's going on. Kaya lang, parang marami nang naririnig na gano'n, hindi tayo makontento. Kung shame game ang gagawin, may iba na talagang hindi yata na si shame. So, Secretary Lutilla.
Well, Madam Chair, both of you are of course correct that these has aspects of soft law. But for now, we take the moral high ground. And therefore, as you said, it may be a shame game, but precisely we're getting other countries who are similarly situated as we are to come together and build up even gradually a legal regime that even the big powers cannot ignore. Now, precisely the point that since some of these bigger powers are already signatories and will be ratifying and become part of the Conference of Parties, if our voice is not there, then their voice will be disproportionately even stronger than ours. And they may use the shaping of the rules in their favor rather than in ours.
Okay, Madam Chair, my question, I just ask you, I don't know who can answer this. If there's one country who continues to violate this agreement, is there can we expel them? Can we expel this country? Nandiyan po ba sa agreement na? Because sobra na bully. Okay, we want you out of here. Well, is there such a thing, a provision there that, okay, all of us unanimously vote na, yes, we will expel this country. Go ahead, Madam Chair.
Thank you po, Mr. Vice Chair.
Can you please identify
Please
yourself?
identify yourself. Di namin mabasa.
Assistant Professor Jacqueline Espinilla po, UP Law Center po. I appreciate po the question. I understand the concern. We're hoping that this new treaty will be some silver bullet that will shield us from regional bullies, kasi alam naman po natin marami pong ganun. But I think right off the bat, we have to not impose a character to the treaty that it never presumed to be po. Actually, what I would like to point out po is that the treaty is intended to be consultative and constructive rather than punitive. If you will take a look po at Article 55, tungkol po to sa Implementation and Compliance Committee, sinasabi po na when there are issues about implementation or kuwari po yung may mga pasaway po, it should be facilitative in nature and function. Actually, ayaw po natin mag-expel. Gusto po natin pasok sila para kasama po sila sa diskusyon, para constructive po, para ma-plansya natin yung mga problema nila. Now, this goes back din po, Madam Chair, Mr. Vice Chair, on the idea na we want to ratify right away. Kasi the Implementation Compliance Committee, nakapark po ito sa isa sa mga bagay na specifically sinasabi yung modalities po para yung pagkonsulta natin, yung paano ba natin i-engage yung mga pasaway, pag-uusapan po yan sa first Conference of Parties. So gusto po nating may say tayo dyan. Alam naman natin marami tayong potential issues in the future. So ito na po yung opportunity natin to shape how implementation will go. Because right now, it is specifically open po para ma-air natin ng mga states parties yung mga concerns nila. Knowing po...
Yes. Sorry, Attorney Espinilla, but we have to push forward. Yes, I'm in agreement that it's an opportunity to participate in the framing and the forming of a legislative or at least a legal framework for all the high seas and the underwater sectors. Pero yung sinasabi mo na you can't give a face or a personality to it, parang ang hirap naman. Lahat ng batas kinakailangan base sa realidad. Ito ang realidad na hinaharap natin. Marami talagang pumapasok sa teritoryo at sa dagat natin. Yun ang realidad. Nakikisama naman kami, gusto rin namin madaliin. Ang problema, nagkamali. At pinadalahan ako ng sulat imbes na gawin ang proper procedure. Dumating lamang to noong September 2 sa Senado. Pagdating sa Senado, dadalhin at ire-refer sa plenaryo. Pagdating sa plenaryo, ipapadala at ire-refer sa committee. Hindi naman kami nagtagal. Kaya talagang nakikisama naman kami, kaya lang, kailangan talaga pag-usapan to. Article 24 speaks of emergency measures. What are the basic rules? Assuming nagka-disagreement na nga, walang session, walang meeting. Alam naman natin, minsan-minsan lang nagmi-meeting yan. Will they have to call a special meeting, another session? Will the voting rules under Article 23 apply when it's an emergency measure? Anong mangyayari sa emergency measure? Di ko maintindihan yung mechanism. Alam namin kapag nagka-special session dito sa Senate, napakahirap gawin. At kinakailangan, urgent na urgent talaga yung dahilan. May alam kayo? Yun?
Madam Chair, this particular matter is actually a very active conversation point po ngayon sa preparatory committee.
So wala pa?
Wala pa pong definitive po.
So wala pang mechanism
Opo.
pa paano itong emergency?
Yes po, but the sense of it is that because of the extraordinary circumstances, may kailangan fast action po yung mangyayari in consultation po with the relevant instruments, frameworks, and bodies. So kumbaga, kung hindi
Kasi ang bigat na nangyayari both Pacific and South China Sea. There's so many military drills, ang daming nagpapaputok, ang daming missile testing, pati ang Pilipinas, di ba? Balak mag-missile testing din. Paano yan kung may umalma dahil may nasiraan at may biodiversity that was completely endangered and even destroyed? I think that constitutes an emergency, in which case we have to be able to respond very quickly as well and thoroughly. Hindi po pwede yung ganon. Kaya alam naman natin, kabagal-bagal, basta UN, di ba? Dekada-dekadang inaabot. So, edi wasak na yung buong atoll, sirang-sira na yung buong baybay. Ano pang pag-uusapan? Wala nang coral na natira. Yun ang mabigat doon. So sana maliwanagan tayo dyan. So you admit that in fact Article 24 merely mentions emergency measures without giving specifics. So that's understood. Article 41 speaks of capacity building. Nabanggit kanina ng mga UP at other experts sa marine technology. Can we offer or can we ask, dahil may capacity building, meron ba tayong idea specifically kung ano yung marine technologies na hihingin natin sa ibang bansa na sadyang makakatulong direktamente sa ating mga mangingisda? Do we have any notion? Yung talaga makakatulong, halimbawa sa tuna. Paano ba? Sino bang nakakaalam niyan na makakahingi tayo ng saklolo? Yes po, sa DA po.
Madam Chair, sa Fisheries Resource Management Technologies po, we have a need for more capacity for vessel monitoring systems, electronic catch documentation, fish stock assessments, and modeling.
Pero puro pera yan. Di ba? Kasi technology yan. Radar, sonar, etc. Di ba?
That they will give us access to those technologies for
Just
our
access, even if we don't have our own system.
yeah.
We'll just get the data and information.
Also
Sharing.
capacity building also of our staff and technical staff po.
At ano naman kapalit? What can we offer them? Kasi usually ex-deal yan, di ba? Mag-share sila, pero may hihingin sa atin. Ano naman maibibigay natin sa kanila para ganado?
Not necessarily na ibibigay natin because this will be applied in areas beyond our jurisdiction.
Wala ba tayong expertise sa anumang area? Nakaka-depress naman ang DA.
Meron naman po. Meron naman.
Nagtaas naman ang kamay ang UP. Saklolo po.
Meron naman po, just to mention, aside from marine genetic resources, there's area-based management, there's EIA. No?
Ano? Maganda yung CIA.
EIA po, Environmental Impact Assessments. And
okay.
So in terms of, as part of our we can provide capacity building training actually for the least developed countries. You know, when we went there dun sa marine genetic
Siguro mas
resources.
magaling naman tayo kaysa sa
Oo.
Pacific Islander, ano?
Hindi lang po doon, pero ibig ko sabihin, that will also show that we have, you know, we can contribute to this. So marine genetic resources, we have some expertise, although kulang yung funding and facilities, but we can negotiate. We have a lot of experience in marine protected area processes, at least in the national level. Everybody's talking about participatory. Matagal na ho natin ginagawa yan, no? But to be applied in terms of those things. And also, on the other hand, we will benefit a lot in accelerating our oceanographic research and deep sea research na, as I mentioned,
Oceanographic and
yeah, deep sea research. Kasi meron
wala
din,
naman tayong halos eh.
pero ma'am, we have a lot of deep sea areas actually
Kaya nga.
within areas of national jurisdiction. So the thing is,
that's what we would ask.
yeah, so we will engage, we will have access to that knowledge, training, capacity building,
So
and
we're
maybe
looking forward
infrastructure.
to a really active exchange is what we're saying.
Yeah,
Meron tayong ma-share at sila naman dapat magbigay rin ng konting kaalaman para
yes
sa
po.
atin.
Yeah.
Okay, so Article 52 andito na sa pondo. Paragraph 4, may voluntary trust fund. Ngayon, may GEF. Allergic po ako sa Global Environment Facility Trust Fund. Kasi parati ko po naririnig yan, wala naman tayong napapala. Dekada-dekada nang nag-iintay. Can you tell us what sort of funding will realistically be sourced from the GEF? Will it be a loan? Will it be a grant? Will it be a shared enterprise? Paano kaya?
Madam Chair, GEF is grant.
Outright
It's not
grant,
a loan.
yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
And so therefore, we have been tapping a number, and I think
Also,
we
grant siya talaga.
can provide the committee with a record of the things that have been funded from GEF over time.